Hello, and welcome back to my podcast, What's Cookin'? This week, we have my good friend, Gaia, also known as G33, also known as 1/4 of Girls Don't Sing.
Hell yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Hi. So happy to be here.
I'm so glad to hear. Have you been on a podcast before?
I've done a few, but I think it's always a different experience when you know the person that you're like speaking to. Like obviously we've got a friendship, we've known each other for years. So I feel like I've done a few people that I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there's an undeniable difference when you're speaking to somebody that's essentially a friend. So I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm glad. So for those of you that don't know how we know each other, because we're talking about how long we've been friends, Gaia is the person that taught me to DJ back in, when was it, like 2021?
It was 2021. It was like kind of breaking out of the lockdown kind of era, I think.
Yes.
I think we were kind of just still in the height of like post-COVID, and I had a room at a community centre where I was teaching DJing, and we had a mutual friend, Kalade.
Yes.
And
Shout
out Kalade. And I think you just kind of really casually mentioned that you'd love to try DJing.
Yeah.
And then you came round, we got in, and I was saying to you before we started filming, like I still do a lot of teaching, and there is an undeniable kind of just reaction when somebody comes in and I can just feel that they've got the bug for it. I can just feel like they're going to get obsessed. And I was saying like, you were definitely one of those people. And first of all, you loved music already. So you were kind of like halfway there. You already had such a like avid interest. And I always say to my students, like, if you've made a playlist, you're halfway there.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If you love music, you're halfway there. Obviously, it's about applying those skills. And I think at the start, it's quite instruction based, and, you know, you're kind of like layering, and it can feel quite basic. You know, maybe we're just using the fader. Maybe we haven't got into the filter yet. We haven't got into effects. There's always layers to add to like continue to challenge you. But I could just feel just from that very first like lesson that we did that you absolutely loved it. Yeah. And you've gone on to DJ, produce, do your own thing. And I think that level of passion is just, especially for women. And I think that's why I love teaching women. I love teaching girls like to get into DJing, because I also just think there's so many transferable skills that I'm sure your confidence has grown so much, and you've been able to apply it to like other areas. And yeah, it genuinely feels like yesterday that we did that lesson.
I know. And do you know what else is mad? Is like when people are like, oh, so you do know Gaia? I was like,
Stop it.
I was like, well, you know.
If only you knew.
I know. I'm like, well, you know the Mixmag, like the one where it blew up? I supported them.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see me in a little red top.
No, you were amazing. And then off the back of like us knowing each other, and also like, I think at that time as well, like very similar to me when I first started DJing, like you just have to be relentless with it.
Yeah.
You just ask people to fucking, sorry, I don't know, can I swear?
Of course you can.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You just ask people, no, I have a potty mouth, so maybe I'm going to try not to swear.
No, be yourself.
When you're first starting, I think particularly after COVID, like a lot of creatives, like we kind of developed a bit of a mindset and a bit of a mentality of like, I've got nothing to lose. Well, I definitely did. I'm just like, you know what? I am going to just shoot my shot and ask this venue if they've got any warm-up slots, or I am going to ask this DJ if I can do a guest mix on their radio. And I feel like we were both kind of like in that era, like there was loads of creatives just going for it essentially.
Yeah.
And I really felt like you were one of those people, and you'd been doing so much and putting yourself out there and just really claiming like your own sound as well. I think like at that time, like really finding the music that, because you knew the skills, I taught you how to DJ, but the rest of it is up to you. Like it's up to you to find your own sonic identity and like develop yourself as a DJ. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you were doing that, and it was so clear and so cool to see. And then when that Mixmag opportunity came around for Girls Don't Sing, we were also very much in our infancy. Like we were still really small. We were still kind of like, we were putting on events. That's how we started as promoters. Them just getting booked as a four quite naturally. Very small scale. Obviously me and Matty are from London, so doing a bit in London, doing a bit in Liverpool, a little bit in Manchester, but very, very small scale. And that was the mix and the stream that ultimately changed our career. And we were able to kind of curate a lineup for it. So we had you and Lucid, another incredible like Liverpool-based DJ and producer. And it felt very homegrown, very community driven. And obviously Mixmag allowed all of us to kind of like have that moment, have that opportunity. And yeah, there was kind of like a no-brainer, like in terms of like selecting you and being like, who can we ask? And obviously you knew Hannah as well, and Sophia and Matty. And it was a really special night. And I don't think any of us really knew at the time what that night would mean.
No.
And it's so cool looking back at all the pictures and you're just there, just like, first of all, like for the entire stream in the back supporting us. But that was also the first time I'd kind of seen you apply the skills, the very basic skills that we'd learned. I'd seen you develop them and kind of like go on your own journey, teaching yourself and like developing, you know, the DJing technique. But then also hearing the tunes that you played, I remember just being like, what is that? Like track ID.
Yeah.
Like that was a really cool moment for me as well, to kind of just see you flourish and really kind of be like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think I mixed something like, it was like a My Humps edit.
Yeah, I remember this.
And a Day and Night edit.
I remember this.
And it was like, you could just hear the do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do.
So good. And it's those kind of like moments and decisions that are memorable.
Yeah.
Like for everybody in the room as well.
For sure. Okay. Now you've had an intro.
Lovely little trip down memory lane.
I know, honestly, like, just thinking about it, it's just mental.
I know, it's crazy. I feel like we were babies. Like, even when I look back in the pictures and the videos of like what I was wearing, like I'd never wear that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we've all grown up. Sophia was blonde for a start.
Yes.
And like, I just feel like we've all grown up together. And it just feels like we've just recently hit 5 years. And I guess in the grand scheme, like maybe 5 years doesn't sound like the longest amount of time, but it's been such a transformative like journey in terms of like us like as DJs, but also just like as girlies, as friends. Like I feel like we've matured, we've learned so much along the way. And I think that moment in particular was just like the beginning of something that we didn't quite know would have this much power, I guess.
Yeah, and also like such a privilege for everyone to be there as that's happening. Like when you look at the video, I always think like the energy was just sonic.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the time, the energy's there because everyone's there. But then when you actually watch the video, you're like, of course this was going to do well.
But do you know what happened? Did I ever tell you what happened after?
No?
So first of all, the people that are in that video, what I love is like the people like Phoebe and Kalade, like they're still with us today. Not that they've passed.
Yeah, no. Just to clarify.
That makes it sound like they've no. But it's like the same people that were with us in that booth, they're still pulling up at our events today. Like they have been like such core kind of like ultimately like extensions of the Girls Don't Sink experience and journey.
Yeah.
And they were there at 5 years at IDRA on the weekend. And it's like, there's so many like people that are around us in that booth for the very first Mixmag that have just, they've always supported us. And it's been so nice to be able to like reflect back on that. But after Mixmag happened, we were still in the venue and we were kind of like coming down from the buzz. And I think that's obviously like the first time like visually and also sonically that we were like online like that. I'd never been on YouTube before. So there was obviously like a lot of like pressure in order to get the set right, get the vibe right. And the vibes were undeniable.
Oh, so good.
But I think me and Matty in particular, just because we know what we're capable of, we weren't the happiest with our mixing, I don't think. And I think we were just like, I think we could have done a bit better. I thought she was great and she thought I was great. But you just get in your own head, don't you? And we were kind of like bouncing off each other. And we actually said to the guys from Mixmag that were there, like, are you going to post that?
Oh, no.
Like, we don't know. We're not. We were just doubting ourselves, which I think is really normal. Like,
Of course.
I think I was already prophesizing like all the hate. Like, again, I'd never been online. Like, we'd never done a mix like that. I was already kind of like manifesting all the comments, all the kind of like hate and whatever. And also very aware of the fact that it wouldn't just be about maybe DJing. We're 4 women. We all represent different things. So it wasn't just going to be like about technical, like, you know, criticism. It could also be about who we are, what we look like, what we represent. And it was just getting a bit real, I think. And we were just having a bit of a moment, which is super normal. And the guys at Mixmag ultimately were just like, look, we are going to be totally honest with you. We've never seen anything like that. Like, this is so special. Like, I think people are going to be absolutely enamored by like the connection that you guys have, this friendship, the vibe that you've created. And some of the biggest DJs after we've done streams with them have been like, we're not sure about that. What you're going through right now mentally basically is like supernatural and it's valid. But we're posting it and we really think it's going to change your lives.
Yeah.
And it did, basically. Yeah. And genuinely in 24 hours, like, whew, a lot changed. A lot changed.
And what's so nice is like, you guys have continued that relationship with them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you have these mixes that you've done at different points in your career. And, you know, I've watched them back multiple times.
I know.
But it's like, you do see like the difference in you all growing and like
in the sound, in the
Yes.
sonic, like our sonic identity, like when we first started in Mixmag compared to like, you know, we've just put the 5-year mix that we did at Idra on SoundCloud. That was a 3-hour set as well. So we really like developed a journey. And I think our kind of like sonic palette has matured just the same way we have, like our tastes of kind of like, they've just become a bit more nurtured and a bit more defined. Like we've obviously always hailed and honoured like the UK club staples, garage, house, bass. And it feels like we're stepping into this like new era. But, you know, that Mixmag set was full of edits, full of like remixes, and just, I think for us, like really establishing what Girls Don't Sink is as a kind of ethos. And I think the energy that was captured in that set like speaks for itself basically. And we want to be able to emulate that. But also we want people to take us seriously as DJs and as selectors.
Yeah, for sure. I think that really does show in all the mixes and online. Like, you guys are so good at showcasing who you guys are as a brand, what you stand for on social media, which I think is just so important.
I think as well, because we have each other. Like, we always say this, especially about like female DJs, you know, touring by yourself and having these experiences like solo. When I first started DJing, all my mates would pull up. And then, you know, the more you do it, it's like the mates kind of like fall off, because at the end of the day, it's our job. So we're actually going to work. And sometimes you do have to look at these sets as just, you're in, you're out, you're working. Some can be a party, like some sets I'll have a drink, I'll bring my friends. But also you need to be able just to sustain that. And you're not going to have, you know, sets every time that are going to be life-changing and that are going to be the best experience in the world. You're going to have some really bad sets. And when I first started DJing, I was essentially DJing in like the equivalent of like Slug and Lettuce for like 6 hours for like 50 quid, which was not cool, but it was like the making of me as a DJ. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think that art of just like hustling. And I think because people see like the end product and, you know, the DJ sets in the big clubs, and I think it looks really great. And I think it's incredible that people will have this aspiration to kind of like strive towards that. But you need to do the crap naff stuff along the way to really build yourself, and also to humble yourself. Because I think it's like a bit of an instant gratification, and it's not our fault, but I think our attention span and our kind of like the urgency like culture that we're in, that kind of currency right now, like everything is like next day delivery, or you can pay £2.50 to get it in 20 minutes. And I think people want to accelerate to that level really quick because they see it around on socials, or they see, you know, people that they admire doing it very quickly, or people coming up very hard and fast. But for me, I was playing in the most uncool places, literally for pennies. But it was because I just was desperate to get on a pair of CDJs. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, I want to do that. I was getting requests for like Sweet Caroline and ABBA, and I was doing it because I think at that stage as well, like I was playing all different types of genres. But I do think it's really important to be able to reflect, look back and be like, I did some pretty uncool things. But I think they were like the making of my DJ career, basically.
Yeah, I remember you saying to me, like, you need to know your tunes, you need to hone your craft. If you're serious about this, like, you need to make sure, even if it is the crap gigs, I don't want to say like grab and go, but it was just like you doing it so that you can learn on the job. And I remember when you first started teaching me, I'd do like a crap mix, or what I thought was a crap mix, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do that again, and you'd be like, no, you're not doing that again. You've just got to keep going. Because if you do that in the middle of a set, you can't just stop your set.
No, you can't.
And that's always stuck with me, like, because sometimes, I mean, you can go to a set and you forget that your decks aren't set up for you.
Totally.
And it's like some people...
Also, you might go and like the jog wheel might be a bit funny, or the loop button might be a bit like a bit jammy. So I think transitioning. This is why you need to be confident in your mixing, because when you then take that and apply it in the outside world, in a bar, a club, a restaurant, whatever, there are going to be so many more external factors that could inhibit your experience, whether it is the equipment. Also, sometimes the decks do things we don't want them to do.
Yeah.
And when you're working with technology, that is going to be an option, and that is going to be the case. So if you have that level of confidence of just like, do you know what, if this mix, you know, isn't the best one, or I'm a bit out, maybe I'm going to crank up the reverb and get myself out of it. It's about exactly what you're saying. You know, you can't stop and start in the middle of a set, but you'll be confident enough to know the ways and the little techniques that you could easily get out of that moment and kind of like move on to the next thing. So I'm glad that stuck with you.
Yeah, it really has. It's a key thing I tell people. Like,
oh my God, I love that.
You know, if people are like, oh, I'm going to go do like a DJ lesson, I'm like, okay, tell me what you've learned. And then like, they come back and they'll tell me, and I'm like, oh, well, and then I'll just like
love
recycle
it.
something you've said to me, because it stuck with me that you can't just like, can't pick and choose when something's going to go wrong. It's so unpredictable. And you'll know that because you guys have 4 USBs that you've got to contend with. I remember you guys just like check in, making sure, okay, that one's the one that's playing.
We've all got like got different like identification on our USBs. So I mean, like now all of our USBs look different, but at one point me and Hannah had very similar USBs. Also, like when there are people in the booth, just like the Mixmag, we've seen it. Somebody could push me and I could stop the cue button.
Yes.
Or even like if I'm doing a blend and like someone, have you ever had that when you're like mid blend or like mid kind of like beat match and then someone comes to speak to you and you're like, it just throws you off completely.
Yeah. Or like, you know, when you're first mixing in.
Yeah.
And like.
And you're like, what?
Someone will be like, can I come get my USB? And you're like, oh, just let this.
I know.
Let this drop.
The changeover as well is so awkward.
Sometimes
I always find the changeovers like, even to this day, like still so awkward. You could just like, and just like waiting. Also, like I'm always about just being like, no, play one more. Like take your time. Like I'm not that bothered about it like eating into my time, but also some DJs really are. So you also, if you are doing a changeover and you've started before them, it is also good to be mindful of like, everybody's just got different capacities and different ways that they navigate that. And I think one of the most important things for me when I first started DJing was, I guess, the craft of a really good warm-up set and what that means. And all of these kind of like things, they're not almost like accessible like online. Like there's not a rule book. Like you have to just like find out from just like doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I made a few mistakes when I first started of just like cranking up the energy or just like playing big songs before like, you know, like the headliner. And again, like these are all things that you learn through, I guess, discussion, you know, people advising you, but also just like getting out there and doing it. And I think the craft of a warm-up set, especially if you're like warming up for a bigger DJ or, you know, it's your first time in a venue, like that level of just like staying respectful, and ultimately you have a big responsibility because you're setting the tone for the night. And I think, warm-up DJs and warm-up slots were definitely like so important at the start of my career. And even now, I think, again, it goes back to that mindset of obviously people, you know, they desperately want to kind of like aspire to have that main time slot and that peak time moment. But actually there's a lot of power in that warm-up set, and it's the making of you, especially if you're starting to DJ, especially in club culture.
Yeah, I found as well, like I go to play and, you know, I'm all for people warming the room up, but not to the point where everyone's jumping, singing, dancing, and you've still got like 3 more people to go before the headliner's on. Because it was something that someone actually told me when I used to work for a festival company. They said to me, Beck, your job is to warm people just up to that next level, because what you don't want to happen is the main act gets on and everyone is just knackered. Yeah. Like that, your job is to get to literally warm people's joints up. Yeah. That's your job. They just need to be doing a 2-step. Yeah. They need to be able to have a little conversation, talk about who they're excited to see. But I also think as much as like warm-up slots, when we've been like obviously learning and coming up, and I'm still coming up, but you know what I mean? It's like you said, there's like that importance of learning like different genres in terms of like it needs like certain BPMs and stuff. But I don't know if you've seen this, but I feel like there has been a bit of a shift where people aren't coming for the warm-ups anymore. Like people are coming just for that main act. And I get it, that's what they're spending their ticket money on. But I think something that you guys do so well, and something that I do want to talk about, is like you don't release the set times.
If it's our own show, and our like tour, we've curated the lineup as well. So for our last tour, which was when was that? Like October, November, December last year, we essentially just put so much heart into like selecting the DJs. And especially for us, we've over the years became really good friends and been inspired by loads of DJs from France, Amsterdam, and like we've got loads of like relationships like overseas, and we are, you know, also responsible for wanting to bring them over and give them their kind of like UK debut. And we've done that a lot with some DJs and friends that we've made along the way, and that's always been really special. But in order to do that, you know, we need to make sure that our crowd ultimately you need to have that trust with your crowd, and your crowd need to trust you to be able to curate something that we think they're going to like. And we put a lot of thought and a lot of dedication in that. And I think if it's our tour and like, you know, our shows where we've got full control, it just sets a precedent of get down early, be open. We're not going to tell you when we're playing.
Yeah.
Because actually what we want is for you guys to come down and experience all the amazing DJs that we have on the lineup.
Yeah.
And the feedback when we have done that speaks for itself, because
Yeah.
we've had so many people be like, oh my God, the DJ that you booked, or I'd never heard of her, or she came from Amsterdam, like I'm going to follow her now. And I think especially when you're curating your own shows, we want the people that we book to be, you know, an extension of not even necessarily like the music that we play, but it's also about creating that kind of like vibe.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of DJs that have like played with us or that we've booked that, yeah, that really resonates with us, and our crowds eat them up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really important, I think, for us as well to be able to kind of keep that ecosystem of opportunity kind of like alive, because the core of Girls Don't Sink was always about, giving access, you know, making opportunities, particularly for DJs that are really inspiring us, particularly for the girlies and the underrepresented. And I think, it falls back into that kind of overall GDS mission of come and have this moment with us. And we want you to experience that. And we want our crowds to be able to experience that too.
Yeah. And you guys have always had like a collective, a community.
Yeah.
And I think like the dance music does have a community. Mm-hmm. But I actually haven't seen anything like what you guys have in terms of
it's really special.
It is. And like the messages that you put out on your stories, you know, where it's like, this is a non-judgmental space. We will not accept this. We will not accept that. I'm just like, can the whole world not just be this? Like this little bubble. I just think it's so special.
But also like we want our sets to be, you know, human connection. You know, we're living in such a digital age. We want people to come. We want people to enjoy with their friends and also just like take in the music and really like, I think for me, when I first started going clubbing, it was about escapism. You know, I was in school or I was in sixth form or I was working, and like the weekend, I think like that kind of like yearn and like appetite for living for the weekend. I want our crowds to be able to just immerse themselves in that level of just like enjoyment.
Yeah, and feel liberated.
Yeah,
to be there. Just dance their feet off.
Defo.
Yeah. Something I did want to talk about was you incorporating your heritage into your sets and your sound. Like, for example, recently you just did Dishoom, and like that I love that you incorporate like where you're from and like your different heritages into your sets. Why do you feel like it's important to do that?
Actually, I would say like Mixmag was maybe like the first time I did that on like a, was it? It was
Really?
because I played a tune called Hi Hi by Punjabi Hit Squad, and I've gone on to become friends with them and warm up for them. And they were like the pinnacle of like my childhood. And for many like British South Asians, like the soundtrack of just like our like childhood and our adolescence. And I dropped that song halfway through the set. And then off the back of that, I think after I looked at the analytics, like we'd had a bigger following in like New Delhi and India, and like I had a lot of people messaging, and I think I tagged Punjabi Hit Squad in that like post or whatever.
The clip, yeah.
And then since then, this is what, like 4 years ago? Yeah, since then, like we've like formed a friendship out of it. And it's always mad when they message me because I'm like, this is crazy. They've asked me to warm up for them. I've done shows with them. I've done a back-to-back with them. And it's all kind of like come from that moment. And I think, first of all, I think especially Punjabi Garage, like it was such a huge thing, like, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it sits so well sonically into like the GDS sound. And I think maybe potentially like doing mixes online or like doing those streams, I guess it kind of just like encouraged me to just like not necessarily even take a risk, but I think at that time I was seeing a lot of DJs like the likes of like Manara, who's on BBC Asian Network, who I absolutely love, like just really being like unapologetic like with their blends and like how they incorporate different genres, or I guess different global sounds, to become like part of their like artistry.
Yeah.
And I was seeing a lot of these kind of DJs, like the rise of Daytimers, which is an incredible South Asian collective, festivals like Dialed In, just like really taking ownership and like creating like their own like DIY like spaces. And I was just really inspired by it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I love this tune. I've grown up with this tune. I'm going to drop it in the set. The same way that I might have dropped like, you know, another edit or another kind of like cult classic from like our childhood, especially me and Matty, because we grew up together. We used to go like raving in Brixton when we were younger. So I think it just felt right. And I think, like I said, like it worked like in the realms of our set. And I think since that moment, and I think the more we've played out and like played at festivals or had headlines, like I've seen like loads more pockets of like South Asians like pulling up or like taking like center stage or like just coming or dropping us a message. And I think it's really important to be able to kind of like hear that sonically and like feel represented sonically as well. And I also love being able to play that music to non-South Asian audiences because first of all, it's lit. It's also an introduction to a world of music that they might not have necessarily heard before. And I think there's something really powerful in that. And I think with us, like or any like good DJs, I want to be able to go to your set and be introduced to like new sounds. But I also want to hear stuff that's, you know, familiar and nostalgic. So I think a lot of that like South Asian edits I was playing definitely like merged those two worlds, and they definitely honor that. And I think definitely in the last few years, I've just become a lot more, I guess, not even necessarily proud, because I've always been proud, but I'm also Italian, but I don't have that connection with Italian music as the way I do with like Punjabi music, because it was a lot more, I guess, around me growing up. I loved it. And I think I've seen loads of like Bollywood remixes come out, and lots of DJs that I know and that I really admired were just really pushing it. Yeah. And my mum's always like, why don't you play any Italian music? I'm like, because it's shit. Respectfully, because it's shit. And it feels really nice to kind of like bring like a little piece of like me, and put that at the forefront of my sets. And I think a lot of people like that as well. And it's kind of become a little bit of a, not even necessarily like a given, but there's been like people that have come to the set, especially like people from the South Asian community, that will come and they'll like put up on their phone, like play this song or play that song. And like when I see them, I'm like, bet, I got you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, really special moment. And it's definitely something that I'm really proud of, to be able to represent in our sets, and through like the vessel that is Girls Don't Sink, like being able to have that moment online via Mixmag and YouTube meant connecting with Punjabi Hit Squad off the back of playing their tune, which also recently turned like 20 years old, like I think maybe last year.
Really?
So it's a classic. It's a classic. And we've seen like edits kind of like come from it, remixes, like it's always been repurposed. And I think dance music and electronic music, like when we go back to the history of like sample culture and the way that things are just like repurposed, reinterpreted, like it's always really special. And I think, look, not everything needs to be an edit. Yeah. Not everything needs to be a remix. Some tunes like should be left untouched. But I think there's something really special in like just new waves, just like putting their own spin and like putting their own interpretation on it. And also just like sustaining really great music and adapting it and interpreting it in your own individual way. I think there's a lot of power in that if it's done correctly.
Yeah, I think as well, like what you were saying, it's kind of inspiring people to listen to that music maybe, and they've not heard it before. Defo. And I think that's why people are so inclined to create edits, because they're like, the original was so great, I feel inspired by that and I want to put my own spin on it. Totally. So that's so nice. Have you done like a full Punjabi set?
Defo. I used to have a residency on BBC Asian Network, so I played a lot all across like Punjabi garage, Bhangra. Also like there's loads of ties with like dancehall as well, so I was doing like Bhangra dancehall mixes. Punjabi garage, lots of Bolly piano, which is basically like Bollywood Amapiano edits. And they're so sick.
I don't know if I've heard.
Oh my god, before. It's sick. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, there was a lot of like more like Afrocentric, like percussive kind of like edits I was finding on SoundCloud. And I think off the back of doing that residency, now I've got a whole bank. Also done a few weddings, so got loads of like classics in there, and like going and playing at Dishoom. I do that 2 Thursdays every month.
Really?
It is so, yeah, it's you'll have to pull up one time, guys. I got you. It is. I play for like, how long? I do 7:30 till 11. So that's 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. 3.5 hours. And when I first started DJing, I was playing for like 5-6 hours in a bar or a restaurant, like, and it was at the time really important in terms of learning. But also now I love the fact that I get to do a set like that. I'm not the main event. I'm pressing play on tunes that like defined my childhood. I find it really like cathartic and nostalgic. But you know, you're secondary. People are coming in to have a nice meal. There's something really like just really satisfying about not having the pressure on you, I guess. And it just, I really enjoy the mixing there because I start on like 80 BPM.
Oh.
And I'll go up to like maybe like nothing too crazy, like maybe like a 130.
Yeah.
Which is obviously so different from the stuff that I play out in like the clubs.
Yeah.
And I find it really just like healing. And I really enjoy like going back to those kind of like extended sets in a restaurant. But also this is a lot more special because I'm selecting tunes that were very definitive of like my childhood, and maybe tracks that I don't necessarily get to play out anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe tracks that I've never really got to play out in a club setting, but I've got the opportunity and space to do so in a place like that. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I love it. I put my headphones on, I get a couple bits to eat, and I just really take my time with the DJing. And I think there's something, because of the level of like touring that I'm doing and just like the clubs and the late nights.
Yeah.
God, finishing at 11, I'm like, oh my God, this is a treat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it very healing.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Like you said, you can just put your headphones on and it's almost like noise cancelling.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
And you're just there, you and the decks.
I know.
Having a good time.
I love it. Also, it's so busy and loud in there.
Yeah.
And like, it means like I've got a booth monitor, but when it's super busy, it means that I literally just lock into the headphones.
That's so good.
And it's also just like a bit of time like away from my phone. I kind of like reconnect with all this music that maybe I haven't played out or I've in ages or I've never played out. And yeah, I just kind of feel like transported for a few hours.
Yeah.
And it's also nice to be able to do something in Liverpool because I feel like I'm rarely there. It's down the road. And yeah, it's lovely. The people that work there are super sweet. Everybody's really complimentary about like the music. They always cut like guests and like people that come for dinner like always come up and ask about the tunes, and I'm like, oh, I love that. And it is a mix of people. It's, you know, South Asian people, but also white people. Scouse is like, yeah, it's like, what's this tune, girl? And I'm like, oh my God, I'll give you the ID. Yeah. Or like, where can I listen to these mixes? Like, I think those kind of sets are really important, even when, you know, you might be booked and busy in like the club world, because it just allows me to just kind of like reset and kind of reclaim some of that original passion that I had when I first started DJing. And I think extended sets are a great way to kind of like do that, because you can really exercise a whole range of like BPMs. Like when I first started, I was playing like maybe like 80 to 115 BPM. Like I was playing a lot of R&B, hip hop, dancehall, reggaeton, and I miss playing those genres. Also, it's a totally different style of mixing as well. And you can really take your time with it. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you record them then, or?
I'm actually going to record the next one.
You sure?
I'm going to record the next one.
Yeah, just like people coming up to you and saying, where can
I know,
find
I'm going to
this?
record the next one. Also, if I ever did an all night long, I would want to start on 80 BPM.
Oh, I love that.
I would want to go through, like, that is like the journey of like G33, but also Gaia. Like, I'd love to be able to do an all night long that takes you through all the like inspiration and influences that I've had from like my childhood, but also like the start of my DJ career up to like where I am now.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to do that.
That's so nice. You definitely should do that,
know.
I think. When you... this is not a DJ question. This is more like a food question, because I love food. What do you... what's your go-to order then when you're at Dishoom whilst you're just chilling?
What do I like from Dishoom? You know what? I don't know what it's called. It's like a kale and chicken salad, and it's quite spicy. It's so nice. I have got no idea what the name is. I also love samosa chat, which is basically like samosa with like, it's almost like mushed, like broken samosa with like yogurt, like tamarind sauce. It's so nice. I love that. Nothing too crazy though. I can't be backing off like a lamb chop like mid-set. It has to be like appetizer bite things.
Yeah.
But yeah, samosa chaat or the kale and chicken salad, because we're coming up to summer, girl. I need to lock in.
Yeah. Well, you look fabulous.
Oh,
so.
thanks, honey. But it's more just about like, you know, when you're on the road and you're like, oh my God, I'm eating crap. Like I like to eat well, especially when I'm home. It's not even so much about, it's about just like feeling healthy. Like if I've been on the road or we go to a services, I feel like it just stays on me like the next day.
Yeah.
And I love to like, there's been times that I've come back from a set at like 4 a.m. and I've just been like, I need to eat something green.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that where you're like, I just need to eat something green?
I know exactly
I'm
what
so
you mean.
conscious of it.
Yeah. And do you know, when we first started being friends, I remember coming over to yours and Claudia's flat and you were like, I'm cooking pasta. I was like, okay. And you're like, do you like spice? Do you like prawns? I was like, yeah. Do you like garlic? I was like, chuck the whole bulb in. And we were just there, just like slipping this pasta, and it was so good. And like, you were like, fresh parsley? I'm like, yeah, go on. Do you want parmesan?
Do you know what I love to cook.
Yeah.
I love to cook and I love food. And you know what? I was saying this before, like, the amount of food that I've eaten in the last few years, just off the back of like touring, like being able to try things that I've never had before. And like, whenever we go somewhere else, like, I think for all of us, the priority is like, what are we eating?
Yeah.
And I love that. We're all on the same page. Food is very important to the girls.
Yeah.
Food is very important to Girls Don't Sing. And I feel like we've been able to like just be so lucky to be able to travel, and like the fact that this like little DJing thing, do you know what I mean? Like this little DJing thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all had that, especially if you're a girl when you first started. I had that when I first started. It's like, oh, like, especially for men.
Yeah.
But even like some of like my male friends or just like male counterparts, like, oh, are you DJing? And it's like, yeah. And now I'm very much like, it's very much not a little thing anymore. It's very much like my main job.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. Like, I've done so many jobs over the years, and like, I think that, yeah, being able to kind of like essentially do this full time is such a privilege, and that is not lost on me. But I definitely feel like when I first started, it was just like, oh, like, you know, like the little DJing thing, even like my own family to some degree. Like,
yeah.
I was going to buy this really expensive pair of Beccs, and my dad, with the scholarship that I got from my university,
Yeah.
YOLO, I know, which was meant for other stuff, but I was like, fuck it, like, I want to buy it. And my dad was just like, as any dad would, just like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
this is a lot of money, and like, you know, this might be a phase, like, you know, if you're serious, then go for it. But, you know, and it's just mad to look back at that conversation to now, because I'm so glad I invested in those Decks.
Yeah.
And look, it is a lot of money. And the very first Decks I got them after a DJ workshop. So my first experience of DJing was for my birthday. Was it my 21st? No. How old was I? It was in 2020. So I just graduated.
Yeah.
No, just before graduation. The summer before graduation, which my birthday's in June. I can't remember I don't know how old I would have been. But my friends all pitched in to get me a DJ workshop lesson, 1-to-1, at Pirate Studios. Oh. I know. So all my friends, like some of my friends from uni and some of my friends from home, so cute.
No, that makes
and
me
I'm
wanna
so
cry.
glad they did, because I wouldn't be sat on this sofa today, mate.
Yeah.
But they did that, and it was a guy called Liam, and he was from Birmingham, and we just mixed like drum and bass for like 4 hours.
Liam Ross.
No, not Liam Ross, but I also know Liam Ross as well.
Yeah.
I went to him after. And oh my God, coincidentally, they were both called Liam. And we were mixing drum and bass, and I was like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And because my friends got me it, I think I've always made playlists. I've always been the girly that's, you know, connecting the aux to like my phone or parties, whatever. So I think I probably said that I want to do a DJ lesson, or I want to try DJing, and my friends, bless them, like they all just kind of like put their heads together and got me that for my birthday. And then off the back of that, I think I bought a pair of, I got the DDJ, not the 200, maybe just the controller.
Yeah.
I literally bought that like 2 days after, because I was like, I need more of this.
Yeah.
And it did become a bit addictive. And I think because we had lockdown, which was obviously an absolutely mental time, but it also meant that I just had the space in the day to just really become absolutely enamored and obsessed with the technique and watching stuff and YouTube, and my mum relentlessly coming in being like, turn it down, and I'm like, no, and she's like, why do you keep playing the same thing over again? I'm like, because I'm looping, I'm practicing looping. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know if I would have had, if it wasn't for lockdown, which again was an absolutely crazy time, like the world was in crisis, if I didn't have that space to just really, I guess, just become really,
You're obsessed
and addicted to the technique of DJing. My earliest videos that I was posting, and I say this to a lot to my students now, obviously like we're seeing all the big, you know, the flashy setups and everything looks really cool and everything's branded. The videos that I was posting when I first were DJing was just like propped up iPhone, me in my bedroom, all my clothes in the background, and just a couple blends. Yeah. But I think we were living in a time that it just didn't really matter. Like you could just fling it up, and it wasn't kind of like, I wasn't thinking too much about it. I was just like kind of getting out there. I definitely don't feel like that now when it comes to socials and like social media, because everything is a bit more like, you've got to package it right. It's a bit more calculated. But at the time I was just like flinging anything up.
I remember, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just like, fuck it. What have I got to lose?
Yeah.
And I really liked that kind of like casualness of Instagram back then. You could just post anything.
So raw.
Exactly
it?
that.
But
Exactly that.
I feel like your stories are where you put that now. Like you're very, what's the word? Just like authentic and raw in yourself on your stories.
Aw, thanks.
Which I love. And like when you put all the, what's it called? The captions, I'm like, if I'm in work, I'm like, I'm so glad she's got captions because I need to watch this whole story.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, because I just love watching them. Like you're always so passionate, and like it's just so nice to see, because I think, like you said, Instagram, it is a lot more calculated. And you know, even I did a press shoot the other week because I'm like, I need to get more professional. I need my Instagram to look not like my iPhone. Like I need it to look, even like you said, paying for a photographer, paying for a videographer. But I find like your stories are just so like unapologetically you, and you're so vocal about stuff, and I love that. I just think it's so nice. I
also think there's a lot of power in just making sure that your Instagram also isn't super slick, and like there is bits of your iPhone on there. Like I want to see who you are. I want to see where you've gone or what you've eaten. Like I think it's important. And look, everybody navigates social media differently. I've got some mates who are DJs that it's just like strictly music, strictly DJing, but also we're, you know, 3-dimensional as people. Like before you were DJing, you know, you've got friends, you've got things that you want to post about. And I just think like there was an era of Instagram that was just a lot more casual. And I think once you start utilizing Instagram for like, you know, an extension of your artistry, you do have to probably ask yourself these kind of questions.
Yeah.
But for me, like even when we've got to book people for Girls Don't Sink, or I'm looking at people's Instagram, I want to see who you are. And I always say to people like that I'm teaching as well, like, you know, if something doesn't feel authentic to you, or it doesn't feel right in terms of like maybe filming yourself or speaking to camera, just find what does. Like, don't do anything that doesn't feel natural to you.
Yeah.
And ultimately your Instagram, you know, we don't have things like LinkedIn. It's if I'm booking you, if I'm a promoter, or if I'm curating a lineup and I suggest you, and unfortunately you don't have one, you know, bit of evidence on your page, it could be a SoundCloud link, it could be a video of you DJing. If that's not there, it's going to be really hard for me to advocate to try and book you.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, making sure that you have mixes on SoundCloud is really important. Making sure that you've, you know, maybe got a couple clips or a couple event flyers, like what event have you played at? You know, who have you aligned yourself with? How are you, you know, taking charge of your like DJ career? And I think if lip syncing into the camera doesn't feel right for you, then you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, you know, posting an infographic of 5 tracks that you love at the moment and you put on your USB. I think it's all open, and I think authenticity is really important, and just staying true to who you are is going to be the thing that just that propels you.
Yeah, I remember you saying to me like, your Instagram is your CV. That's what you said, and like since then I've been like, yeah, it actually.
But you need to also strike a balance.
Yeah.
You need to strike a balance, because at the end of the day, you're also just a girly. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's important just to also be able to dismantle, like, when you are the product, you know, when you are the DJ, like you are forward facing, you are the brand, but also I'm a girl. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I think, you know, the bigger that you get as well, I think people feel like they obviously have maybe more of a sense of like ownership over you.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that with a lot of like big DJs and a lot of like fan culture, and like the bigger that your community gets. And I also think it's just important to remind people that, you know, you're a human and you do normal things. And yeah, I think there's a lot of power in that, because at the end of the day, we're just girls.
Yes,
we're literally just girlies.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, even when I first met you today, I'm like, oh God, like even something like this, like I think maybe if I didn't know you, I'd probably feel a bit more, not uncomfortable, because I don't have a problem talking, as we all know.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know, like I'm a woman, so there's going to be things that impact me in terms of the way I feel about myself, the way I look. And then sometimes I've got to endure those feelings, but then I've got to also do it to 10,000 people. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult. And I think there's that side, I think, being a woman in music, where, you know, you're so forward facing. Like there's some days when I'm in certain phases, so to speak, that I don't want to be seen. No. I don't want to be like outside. I kind of want to just curl up in a ball and just like not speak to anybody. And I think that's also the beauty of having the girls around me, because there's moments where we all feel like that and we can all kind of like just champion and motivate each other. And it's something that I'm really, really grateful for.
Yeah, I think the industry as well is getting way more accepting, shall we say, of like, we are women and like our bodies do work differently. And like, people are like, it's okay if you need to just like take a few days offline, or like, you know, you're doing this set and maybe you're not feeling your best. Like, that's okay. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Whereas I think before, people would just be like, I hate this phrase, but it would just be like, chin up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Smile, love.
Oh yeah, that. Oh, when people say that, crack a smile,
my God,
love.
it's the crack a smile.
It's like,
honestly,
what?
I hate it.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I think it also stems from women being transparent and honest that this is a reality. Like, even like I've spoken about this a lot, but like I feel like even my style, like because of the girls, I've felt more confident to wear stuff like skirts or maybe like different kinds of tops, because I feel confident and protected by them. And I feel like I've definitely seen that. Like, maybe when I first started DJing, I'd wear like maybe baggier t-shirts or just like things that weren't like hyper femme. And like now I think because of the girls, I'm like, you know what? I am going to wear that top. I love it. I feel great in it. Yeah. And I've got 3 other gorgeous, very confident women standing beside me that has encouraged me to be able to like express that side of me that maybe I haven't before, but I want to now. And I think there's a lot of power in that. And I've seen so many female DJs just like, reclaiming some of that back.
Yeah.
And it's always been a thing of just like, oh my God, like there was literally a comment on like a mix that we did where it was like, oh my God, like just 4 pairs of tits, or like they don't know how to DJ, or like DJing's all for show, or like DJ, you know, like, and I think if you are a female DJ and you're being unapologetic in like what you wear, I think it's really powerful because you're reclaiming back some of these like stigmas of just like what a female DJ should look like. And oh my God, it's all about the aesthetics. Like, it's not about the technique. Like, you get some of those like really bored men. Also, by the way, thanks for the engagement. Nice one for the comment.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for the comment, because you've just like, you've added to the engagement on the page. And I think when we first started, obviously the comments would rattle me a little bit, but I'm just like, you're just bitter old men that are jealous, and you've obviously got nothing better to do. And you've taken the time out of your sad, pathetic life to drop a comment on my video. And I hope that's made you feel a little bit better about yourself, because why have you done it otherwise? And it's just like, there's so many tactics used to kind of like diminish and silence and kind of like minimize like the impact of female DJs, and I guess like the rise into success. And keep trying, because it's so obvious like as to what they're doing and what they're attempting to do. And I think the more we call it out, which we obviously have done like so much as Girls Don't Sink throughout the years, but I've seen so many more female DJs and female collectives just be like, we are not fucking standing for this shit. Yeah. And I think there's something really powerful in being part of like a cohort of like other women, or like seeing other female DJs be like, I'm going to wear what I want when I'm DJing, and I'm going to call out this fucking bullshit when I see it on my page or on my mixes. And I think it's really important now more than ever. And building that level of confidence as well, to be able like to be able to be like, this is actually unacceptable.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but there's a female DJ called Rishi. And there was like this video going around. I don't know why this is a thing, but like, people calling women like tarts, or like blonde tarts, or like whatever tarts, and it's specifically aimed at women. And Rishi like recently called that out, and like the engagement on the post was just like it was so split. But in my head, when I see that, I'm like, you shouldn't be called. We're in 2026.
I know.
Hello. Like,
also, like, look, I think comments on a post are the kind of starting point, and just like being able to have that kind of access in terms of essentially like harassment and abuse online, it also can transcend into a lot like darker stuff as well. And for a lot of these people, like, it might just be a comment, it might just be harmless, but how that manifests itself, I've seen a lot going on in the last few months about, the techno scene and people really abusing their privilege and abusing their power, and a lot of victims coming forward about the realities of what these interactions or these moments of literal sexual abuse and sexual harassment has meant. and how they've been protected. And I think there's been a lot of women, I mean, it's notorious, like over the years, like it's always women that speak out. It's always women that will defend each other, will support each other, will ride for each other. I would like to see a lot more men, like around me and in the music industry, also having that level of just like dedication in terms of like speaking up. We're going to do it for each other because we're women and we see ourselves in each other, and our experiences are synonymous. But it would also be really, really helpful if the men around us also kind of like did their part to kind of like stand up and speak out.
Yeah, I agree. And that was something we were obviously speaking about earlier. Shout out Enzo.
Shout out Enzo. I was bigging you up because I was just like, I can kind of count on my hand the male DJs that are around me that are always just there, like back in the underrepresented and speaking out against what's right and what's wrong. And yeah, Enzo came to my mind straight away. He's great.
Yeah. I'm glad we've spoken about that because I feel like it's so important. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next topic now.
Go for it.
I actually don't know the answer to this question. Hold on. I need to get my brain into gear.
Go for it.
What I'm trying to say is producing. Obviously, you and the girls have started releasing more music, which is absolutely amazing. You're going into the studio. But actually, like, when did you start producing? Because I don't know.
So we were going into the studio a lot this was like a few years ago. We released an edit pack. I don't know if you remember. We released an edit pack called 4x4.
Oh, yes.
And we did that with Silver Bumper. Oh. So like he was so instrumental at the time because like we learned so much from him, and we made 4 edits of Chemical Brothers, a Bicep edit, a Rihanna edit.
That was class.
And what other edit? Red Light, Get Out My Head.
Oh.
We made an edit of that as well. And I think we made a lot of edits and we were playing them in our sets. We were putting them on Bandcamp. And I think, like you were saying, very similar to what you were saying, like people maybe start on edits or they start on remixes. And then I think off the back of that, it kind of acted as a bit of a springboard to kind of allow us to get inspired to make our own music and find our own sound, and kind of the transition from like DJing into production. And I think now, like we love sampling ourselves. Yeah. And even if we're just like, oh my God, we can't quite find that hi-hat, we'll just be like we'll do it ourselves. And I think in the studio when we're together, it's a very similar energy to like when we play. Like we all bounce off each other. I think Sophia is definitely like the strongest without a doubt. And having her in the studio, like she's very good. I think she could easily be like A&R. Really? Like, yeah, A&R, and also just like her knowledge. And I think because she's come, like her mum is a DJ, big up DJ Emma, and her dad used to have like a club in the 90s that was like garage, bass, house. And she's kind of come from such a credible catalogue of music, coming from like, you know, the inspirations of her parents. And yeah, she knows her music so well, and she's so like into like production, and I think it's definitely helped. And I've learned a lot from her as well. And I think definitely maybe like in the last year, releasing like Come Get This, which is one of like our biggest songs, like that's Matty's voice, like we wrote that. Like
it's a banger, that.
So many people like don't know that. Our House as well, that was Hannah. The inspiration, I don't know if I've ever spoken about this, but the inspiration between Our House was what is the song Run DMC? What's the Run? Is it called Run?
Do you want me to search?
Yeah. It's called, I'll know it when I see it. This is a cool story though. I think it's
like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
No. It's, wait, hold on, let me play it. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So, Our House, Hannah, I was listening to It's Like That by Run DMC, and when it got to the breakdown, it must run.
Yeah.
I wanted to make an edit of that because I was like, that's sick. And I wanted to make an edit of that. So I'd kind of like, in my notes, I've got like loads of just like random lyric. I'm sure you do as well.
Oh
just
my
like
God,
random notes or like random samples or random moments that I just put in, or just like, I even will link like a track and be like 2 minutes 40. I love this breakdown, or I love these pianos, whatever. Cool. Love these stabs. Anyway, so I've got that on my notes. So I had this idea of like, oh, okay, maybe we should make an edit of that. But I just parked it.
Yeah.
Like it never came of it. And then when we started building our house, I think we were making the production, like we were focusing on the production first, and we were like, okay, we want like a really hard-hitting, unifying, maybe even like spoken word vibe vocal that really matches like the energy and like the power of this track. What do we care about? Who are we? What do we want to say? We did a session with Basement Jaxx a few weeks before, and they literally, we got in and they just threw us into the booth, and they were like, just say stuff. Who are you? What do you care about? Into the mic, go. Matty was like yodeling, Sophia was like barking. Like we were literally, it was such an incredible way to just like dismantle like all the kind of like, not the pretenses, but like anything that is like almost like holding you back in a session. It was just a way to just like vomit creatively. It was sick. And I think off the back of that session, that inspired us, that kind of energy of just like, let's write, who are we? And they kept saying in the session, like, what do you want your music to say about you? And it stuck with us. What do we want our music to say about you? The lyrics of our house are, in our house, we're all the same. In our house, we're all the same. In our house, we're all the same. Which is, it master game, run. So I used the melody of that Run DMC song when we were writing. And I was like, why don't we just like apply it? Like we know that we like in our house, we're all the same. But how we get, like, what's the melody? Like, what's the vibe going to be? Like, how are we going to say it? And then I used the kind of like rhythm and melody of that, and we just like replaced it with our house.
That's amazing.
So that's how we got to our house.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's insane.
I know.
I love that you've done that.
And that was Hannah's voice. And yeah, again, that was our next single after Come Through. Also Come Through, Nice Up the Dark. Like we wanted our lyrics to kind of be, especially because of what Basement Jaxx was saying, it just really stuck with us. Like, who are we? What do we want our music to represent? Our lyrics are hard hitting. They're unifying. They're inviting. Move to the rhythm. You don't want to get this. In our house, we're all the same. Come through. Nice up the dance. And yeah, I think we've become a lot more confident in just like being able to kind of put our own stamp, like our identity in terms of like, we were in the studio this week, like, again, just like sampling ourselves, writing lyrics, and just really like fine tuning Girls Don't Sink as artists, and like what does that mean? Like what's kind of going to be the cohesion of like our music? And I think there's a lot of power in just like putting ourselves on the tracks. Obviously we love collaborating, and we've got into the studio with so many different types of people, but I think we're just like, we're finding our feet with like what the GDS sound is, and I'm really excited to continue to like explore that and also like really fine tune that. And it's obviously great like being able to be a DJ first, testing all the stuff in your sets.
Yeah.
And also I think we know, like you'll know, like when you get sent a tune, you know what it is about that track that it's like it excites you.
Yeah.
So like we kind of have that feeling of just being able to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to drop this in our set.
Yeah.
And it's our tune as well. And I think we might do a V1, play it in our set and be like, oh, actually the breakdown, maybe we need to bring those stabs in a little bit sooner, or like, oh, actually like something's not quite right there. It's also a great way to test your music.
Yeah.
And then we can go back in the studio and kind of like refine it. But ultimately we're making students. Ultimately we're making music for the dance floors and for the club.
Yeah.
And that's where it belongs, and that's where it will always belong. And obviously we want it to translate, and it also means that because of our music, you know, being on streaming platforms, it means that people that have never heard of Girls Don't Sink as DJs, they might be hearing Come Get This and be like, oh my God, they're DJs. And then there'll be like another way of people being able to ultimately be introduced to us. People might have followed us for years and know us as DJs, and they're like, oh, they're making music, but also it goes the other way. So it's also really special for us to be able to like extend and expand like our fan base and our listeners, like all over the world actually.
So are you releasing like through your own label?
We are now, Formation Records. So Formation was what we called our tour.
Yes.
And then it just kind of stuck. Also, we're writing Formation as F-O-U-R, so like Formation. And I think at the moment we're having fun getting back into the studio again. We released our EP Code Orange last year.
Yeah.
We love doing that. And now we're just about, again, just like reinstalling that creativity and just like getting back in. I think after going to Australia, we always have a huge kind of like insurgence of inspiration because it's so sick out there, and like the energy just really carries us. So off the back of that, we're like, right, we're ready to just go in and put the fun back into like studio, because it's similar to like sets. Like you'll have some good days, you have some bad days, you'll have some days that maybe we feel a bit stagnant or like the creative juices aren't flowing. And I think the week that we just had was really great because we just kind of just went in and just we went for it basically. And I think when we're all together as well, like obviously sometimes we'll do some sessions where it's just two, like just depends on availability. But when we're all in the room together, it's sick. And we know, like when we were making Come Through, our first track, there was a moment, I think we'd got the piano like stabs in the breakdown just right. And we were like going back and forth with what worked. And then we finally found the right ones and we all just went, we all just like stood up. And it's like, we all share the same brain.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like obviously there's moments where Sophia will be like, I'm not sure about that. Or I'll be like, okay, can we try this? But there's, in those big moments, like we know what sounds good. And I think it's just the testament to, again, we all know each other really well, but also we know our music really well. And if we hadn't have had like all the experience DJing and also the relationship that we've built with producers over the years, producers sending us tunes that have become our friends, or producers sending us tunes that maybe weren't cleared and then we've played them and then other DJs have started playing them and then they've eventually got cleared and they've got, become an official release. Then also being able to like book them to play at our shows. Like we've always had a really special connection with producers because they were like, the foundation of our tracks, and we want to credit them and we want to celebrate them. And that's always been something that's really important to us. Like I'm not about the closed culture of not freeing up IDs, like free up an ID. Yeah. It's not your track. Like let people know what the tune is. Like, I didn't make it. Like I'm all about sharing music is my love language and it's really important. And I think especially for the producers that, maybe are quite small scale, like they deserve their flowers. Yeah, totally. Sure. And now it's really special for us to be able to be on the other side of that and then to be able to send DJs like our songs or send these producers our songs. And yeah, we're all part of that ecosystem of like sharing music, sharing tunes. Maybe it's an unreleased, maybe it's a version 1. And it's really important as well, I think, when you're transitioning from DJing into artist or producer, to be able to have that cohort. And, we've seen DJs like Solomon played Come Through at Tomorrowland. And I was like, what? We've seen so many DJs like supporting our tune, like Interplanetary Criminal loved working with. And because he was playing it, that actually pushed forward its release. We weren't even going to release it then. And it's just, it's really important for us to, not even important, it's just sick, isn't it? It's just sick to be able to see like DJs that we love, that are our friends or that we really look up to, just playing our music. And I think for us as well, being able to play our music in our set is a sick feeling. Yeah. At Idra on Saturday, our 5-year party, we played Come Get This, and we've never had a reaction like this. We did in Amsterdam actually once, where just all the girls on the front row just started singing it back, but the whole club were just singing it. And I was like, this is priceless. Amazing. This is priceless.
I've seen like you guys and Sammy Virji have quite a nice relationship.
Oh, I love Sammy, man. Sammy's the best. He is honestly just gone on. Also, he was part of such an important community, like at the time as well, like really pushed and championed by Conductor, Kiwi Records. Like he's been around and grinding for ages and he's getting his moment and it is global. And like his success and his impact will be studied in years to come. Yeah. And he's also just the nicest guy ever. I love him to pieces. He deserves everything coming his way.
Me and my friend Abby were speaking about him, like when we were speaking about the press picks and stuff, and she was like, Sammy Virji, like, great tunes, but great teeth.
Oh my God, the best teeth. He's just he's so smiley. Like, I think sometimes electronic music can be such a serious place.
Moody.
I know, and it's just like, smile, love. Look at us doing it.
Yeah, oh no. we're part of it now.
But also, it's so nice to see DJs just like having a good time, like having fun and just like really enjoying it. And he is just the epitome of joy, isn't he? Yeah. He's so happy and so smiley. And I think that's also such a huge part as to why he's probably got, other than the fact that his music and his DJing's impeccable, but he's just, I think people see him, like they see themselves in him. Like he's a lovely, smiley, grounded guy and he fucking loves music and he loves this shit. And I think people buy into that because it's organic and authentic.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for so long. Yeah, he has. Just like appreciates the moment so much more. Because I think like it can just go in an instant. Mm-hmm. Like you said, people can come up really quickly, but they can come down just as fast. Yeah. And he's at that point now where it's like, he's just going to stay there.
Mate, we went to go and see him at Sydney Opera House. Oh. He did a live show at Sydney Opera House. First time we've ever walked in, we were like, oh, it was incredible. Also, like, it was a huge moment for him, but it felt like a moment for us as well, because I'm like, come on, UK Garage in Sydney Opera House. This is iconic. Like, this is a moment for all of us. Like, it was sick. And just like that impact also just like all over the world, like his Coachella set last year, like him doing the Sydney Opera House, like he's just ticking off these iconic moments and just like standout venues. And I'm just like, so what's next?
Yeah.
He needs to do a set in space at this point.
He is just like, and he's selling things out so quickly.
I know, he's doing so well. Love him.
I remember like messaging my friends, being like, hey, like, I know there's going to be loads of people asking for guest lists, but would love to come. They're like, oh, Beck, like, I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. I was like, oh, shit. And then I managed to see him in Croatia last year. And oh my God. He came off stage and like, he just went to go have a quick cig. And then I was like, I was almost that starstruck. I just went, you, like, you were amazing. And you're just so good. You. And he was like, I have a name. I was like, Sammy.
Oh God,
like,
bless you.
But you know, you just think like, you've just seen him like just be so amazing. And like, it was at the time where it was, I'm a minute. And I was like, this is a fucking,
Damager.
Yeah.
That link up with Interplanetary Criminal, it was pending. It made so much sense.
It's that when that just comes on, like,
I know, it's so
like,
good. Bum 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 bum. Everyone went crazy for it.
Yeah.
Like there's tunes like that I've seen that are just, they have like those moments across the summer. And when we play them, everyone goes crazy. Like I've seen other DJs playing them. We want to make a tune like that. Then like we want to make like, we have a huge catalogue of all different vibes, like stuff that's, you know, for peak time, stuff that's a bit more groovier. Like we've got 4 different tastes going on. So we need to try and honour them without it going off piece, like still like kind of working in a refined direction. But we want to make a tune like, I think of like things like Versatile, LP Rhythm. I think of Damager. Like I want to make it Jam Back Positive. I want to make a tune that is just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That when you play it, it goes crazy.
It's like the sound of
Yeah.
But
We'll get there.
Yeah, no, you will.
We'll get there.
Something that we spoke about off camera, which I would like you to knowledge share, is just about like management and teams around you. I mean, I don't have a manager. I don't have an agent. What would be like your advice to someone if they said, look, I really want an agent or I really want a manager? What advice would you give? And how did you know that, this is right for me or us? Or
So I would say in terms of an agent and a manager, I think an agent, once you've got the bookings yourself and, you know, you're kind of like at that stage where you're kind of ready to take it to the next level. I think if you're just starting out DJing and you've played maybe like 3 gigs, you're probably not ready for an agent just quite yet. I think if you're really kind of like building yourself, you know, across certain cities, or you have impact in the city that you're from, and you're dedicated. Ultimately, an agent is going to essentially help you to get bookings and sustain bookings, but also introduce you to the importance of things like exclusivity and I guess protecting yourself in terms of like offers and logistics. I think an agent will come in at the right time, and you'll probably know that time. But I don't have an agent for solo stuff. And I've always kind of done it by myself, and I've got used to that. We obviously have an agent for Girls Don't Sink. A manager is a very different role. So an agent, ultimately, I would say an agent obviously helps you like collect bookings, but they're also able to kind of like create impact for you in maybe places that you haven't played because of like potentially their connections or their advocacy for you. So if I am, you know, playing all across the UK, but I want to play in Paris, for example, my agent will obviously help me with the steps to get there. A lot of agents like to work backwards. So, you know, what's your 5-year goals? Okay, I want to play in Razzmatazz in Barcelona. Okay, what do we need to do to get you there? And it's all about, I guess, building, but also really nurturing a relationship with your agent in terms of like trust and being able to kind of make sure that you can kind of be able to share those aspirations with your agent. Yeah. But then the agent might also come along and give you offers and put things in your head that you've never even thought were possible in the first place. So I think an agent will come at the right time. I think you need to kind of build by yourself for a little bit first. Obviously, we've also seen things and, you know, success happen overnight, that things can come really quickly, and maybe potentially that might accelerate an agent or a manager coming in. A manager, I think, is, I guess, the role that kind of oversees all of this. So it's really about like building out who you are as a DJ, as a brand, as an artist. And the manager and the agent will have a close relationship into like what works and, you know, I guess the impact that you want to have like over the year or over 5 years, and how does doing this booking right now align with the goal for 5 years time.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a lot of conversation between the agent and the manager. And I think for us, for the girls, like we're working with managers, we're working with women. That's made a huge difference for us. And they just work so hard. And I think they really understand us and what we need. And I think, managers will come and go, and same with agents. And, maybe your needs and desires will change. There's maybe been people that we have worked with or that you'll work with that maybe felt right at the time, but maybe, as you grow or as maybe your taste change, also your sound can change. That might also put you in a different direction of who you want to work with and why you want to work with them. But I think ultimately an agent and a manager is there to accelerate the career that you have, but there needs to kind of like be something building there anyway. It's about protecting you. And it's about putting you in the right places that make sense. And also, I guess a lot of advice, because like we were saying before, like there's no rule book into how things work. And a lot of stuff is just like learning along the way and making a lot of mistakes. And I think, agents and managers are an extension of who you are as a DJ. And they're there to advise and inspire you and, accelerate you to that next stage of your career. Has that made sense? I think it's quite hard to actually explain what a manager and an agent does.
Yeah.
But that's why you need to get a manager or an agent on the pod.
Yeah.
You do, because it's so important. And I think also, I want to see, we've got a female agent, 2 female managers, and we've also got female tour management team. It is also really important to be able to see these kind of conversations, like if you had this conversation with a female agent or a female manager, to also inspire that next wave of female agents and managers wanting to get into the industry, because they're a secondary position. Maybe we don't see them all the time, but we also need a lot of representation in the back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the decisions lie. And I think it's really, really important to be able to celebrate and shout about it, because it will also maybe encourage, that next generation or that next wave of aspiring female agents and managers to be like, oh my God, actually, I want to do this. And you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud that we have this team, and the women that are around us are amazing. And I really hope it inspires more women to get into these roles, basically.
Definitely. And I think, there's people who I met in uni where they were like, I really loved music, but I knew I wouldn't do it as a career, but I knew I needed to be in the scene because I love it so much. Totally. And like you said, seeing women in strategic positions, it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was an option for me.
Hell yeah.
And people don't realize like there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Do you tend to have do you have like weekly calls with your manager?
Yeah.
Do you?
We speak pretty much every day. We have 2 weekly calls. It is kind of like herding like a group of sheep. Yeah. There's 4 of us and we're all across the country. So you know what? I've got to give them so much credit for that, because I think managing 4 of us, also, we're opinionated. We're all in different parts of the country sometimes. Like it can be quite difficult, but it's really important. And I think when we speak on the phone as well, and like if we meet up and we chat in person, like it's really, I guess it reconnects us as well. Like, especially like at the start of the year, end of the year, like kind of like reflecting and what we want for the next stage. And just basically having people in your corner as well, even for us, that really believe in you, is really important. And obviously we have each other to kind of like rely on and support each other. But I think it's nice to be able to have an extension of a support system. Yeah. And we've always had that with our friends, like, at the start of our career, maybe it was one of our friends on the door, Kalade hyping up the crowd, Phoebe taking pictures, but it feels like, we're adding kind of like more strings of like, I guess, really powerful, unapologetic women to the GDS bow. Yeah. And it's really important for us as well to kind of, be able to be inspired by them and vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were saying off camera, was like because they are female and you guys are female, they just know. Yeah. Sometimes it's like an invisible language. Exactly that.
Yeah. And you just feel instantly reaffirmed and validated. And I think, it's obviously different working with men. It's just a different, it's exactly what you said. It's just like a non-verbal, like, but no, I'm really grateful for it.
That's good. Something that obviously comes with like your job as a DJ is touring. Mm-hmm. How do you find touring? Like, what are the best things? What are the worst things? Like, what is it like for you?
So the biggest tour that we've done as a group has been Australia. We've done it 3 times. The first time, the jet lag, oh my goodness, I wasn't prepared. I think on like the third day, I had a bit of a mini panic attack, to be honest with you.
Really?
I actually had to message our tour manager to be like, please come in the room. Because I was really tired, but I was so adrenalined up and I was so excited. And we'd gone to like a zoo that day and I'd held a koala and I saw a kangaroo and like, I was almost just like pushing through the exhaustion. And my tour manager at the time was just like, you are going to need to take, I know you're just like riding on excitement right now, but you are going to need to take a break because you're going to crash. And this is all fun and games and it's great. And we've just got here and obviously you want to explore, but you do have a set tonight and you just have to preserve some of yourself. And I think over the years, we've become a lot better at just being like, are you going to the restaurant? Oh no, I'm going to stay in bed. I'll see you a lot later. Like, I think when we first started touring, it was just like, we want to go out, we want to try everything. And like, actually we're here to do a job and we need to DJ. And if we burn ourselves out on the first day, like, I don't know, going out, going shopping, whatever, just because we're excited to be there and we want to explore where we are, it's going to impact you negatively. So yeah, I remember like, it was like the third day and I was like, you need to come in my room. I'm having a bit of a panic attack. And I think each time we've gone to Australia, we've learned more and more about our capacity and what we need. And I think as a group, as friends, we are so accepting of just like each of us doing what we need to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym. Okay, cool. I'm going to stay in my room and read my book. Okay, cool. I'm going to pop out. Like, I think we've all been able, especially because we're so close, we know what each other need. And I don't think I would be able to do a touring job like that on my ones. I can't lie. If like going to the other side of the world by myself on a tour, I don't know if I could do that. No. And that's why I've got so much respect for the DJs and especially the girly DJs that go and do it because it's a lot. I think the best things about touring are just those moments when, especially in Australia, like, I guess the pinch me moments. I know it sounds a bit cheesy and cliche, but just like, whoa, we're really on the other side of the world. And this thing that we have, like, essentially our relationship with each other, like, our friendship is the DJing and the DJing is the friendship. Does that make sense with Girls Don't Think?
Yeah.
Like, this has brought us to the other side of the world and this is crazy. We've got fans on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I also love just like, we get a bit silly. Like, we have so many funny memories. We meet so many funny people. Like, the people that we meet is definitely a highlight. The food that we indulge is definitely a highlight. And there's just always so many memories and just like silly catchphrases that we'll just use for like years and years and years that are just like, do you know what I mean? Just come from these experiences. I guess the downsides of touring, oh God, the exhaustion, girl.
Yeah.
There's moments where we just all completely crash out. The exhaustion and also like particularly in Australia, like the time difference, the jet lag, you do get on it quite quickly. It does take me a while. And I would just say like, yeah, like the exhaustion is like the main thing and just like the lack of like sleep at times.
Yeah.
But then that's why it's really important to make sure that you can try and attempt to make that up when you can, or just make sure that you're resting as much as possible. What else is there that's the bad side of touring?
If there's nothing, just the jet lag and the exhaustion.
Do you know what? I'll keep it positive. The jet lag is, for me personally, it was the jet lag and the exhaustion.
Yeah. What's like one thing you do to kind of re-energize yourself? Like, you know, if you are touring or like something that you do, like you said, to preserve your energy, like, is there a go-to thing that you do?
I would say, I'm trying to think what I was doing in Australia. I would put on a podcast. And I would, do you know what? I'd put on a podcast. I'd either like just go for a walk or just like try and clear my head. But when you don't have the time to like be able to do that and like you've got to like get ready, I think rushing doesn't help because rushing makes me so stressed. Also, when you've got to do your makeup, like, you know, when you rush and you do your makeup and you just feel awful. Yeah. There's been so many times that we've done our makeup like in a car or in the back of a van and you're just like, oh my God, I look so crusty. Oh my God, all the time. I would say, because we're together all the time, I think a little bit of time apart is really like always really helps. But then I don't want to spend too much time apart because I can then feel sluggish and I really require and lean on the other girl's energy. Yeah. So it will be like, okay, we'll all go to our rooms for a bit and then like maybe I struggle to nap.
Oh, right.
I feel like sometimes if I nap before a set, it can make me more tired.
Yeah.
I'd rather just push through, but then sometimes I really do need a nap and then I'll do it and my body will just like give in. So like we'll all have a bit of time apart. Maybe like Matty will go on a walk or, you know, Sophia will go to the gym or like Hannah's, we'll just have a bit of time apart. But then it will be like too much time apart will mean that we'll become sluggish and then we all need each other's energy again. Does that make sense? Yeah. If we're really tired, like we'll all get ready together. Aww. Because it's like we all like, we'll all bounce off each other's energy.
Yeah.
But I do think like over the years, again, because we know each other so well, I feel like we all really know what each other need.
Yeah.
And like we'll have loads of like non-verbal moments. Do you know what I mean? Because like, you know, when you're that comfortable with somebody, it's just like non-verbal.
Yeah.
When we're on that flight and those eye masks come on,
Oh.
don't chat to us. Don't chat to us.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I feel like each time we tour like that in Australia, we learn so much from each other. And when we do like the European shows and just like touring in general, I'd say it's the people that we meet along the way, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in Europe, like the promoters and the DJ, like they're just so hospitable and they're so warm, and we've had so many incredible experiences. Belgium is definitely a top place for Girls Don't Sink. Like we love playing there. We've been playing there from the very start. We've got so many friends there. And yeah, their club scene out there is gorgeous. People love it. People really dance. People are so happy. And I feel like Antwerp and Brussels in particular, where we've played, they've got really cool communities.
Yeah.
And it's always a good time when we go.
Yeah. That's nice. Something else that I wanted to speak about was your neurodiversity.
Mine?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm undiagnosed.
Are you? I thought you have dyslexia.
Oh yeah, back in day.
Back in day. Do you not have it now?
Yeah, I do, but like, yeah. Sorry, is that neurodivergent?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't say I've ever spoken about it, but yeah, go on.
Well, I feel like you do speak about it on your stories. Like sometimes when you're doing your big paragraph.
Do you know how many times when I do my big paragraphs, I've had to delete it and do it again because I've like repeated the word like 4 times?
Really?
That's dyslexia, babe.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's mad because I've started, especially in the last like 2 years, I've read so much more. But when I type, I have to sometimes my texts don't make sense, and it's like my brain works. I thought you were talking about ADHD, but I obviously clearly am undiagnosed. Obviously.
Yeah.
There's so also like people think that ADHD is like a personality trait, and it's like, oh my God, you're so loud and bubbly, you have ADHD. There are things that I do in my everyday life, like routine and just general things. The fact that I'm reading 4 books at the same time is definitely like one of those like traits. The fact that like if I'm hyperfixated on something, I just won't eat throughout the day because it's just like time management and hyperfixation.
I remember you saying
it's a blessing and a curse because it means that I care so much about things and I'm so passionate, but then also like I've just got a lot of, if you saw my record box, Hannah Lynch can back me up. My record box is the epitome of ADHD. It's just like maybe like 150 crates.
Really?
Of just like new music, new music, new. Like everything's unorganized.
Yeah.
But then also there's a part of my brain that is also very special, and it's probably a huge factor as to why I am where I am now, because it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, where do you find like differences, do you think, like from watching people that maybe aren't neurodiverse? Like, do you find it's really helped, or do you find it has been a challenge in other ways?
I don't think before I speak, and I interrupt people all the time, and for people that don't know me, I can't give them the benefit of the doubt. But my boyfriend's always like, you need to try and stop doing that. But it's only because my brain is just working a little bit faster than everybody else and I can't even think, and then it comes out. But it is something that I'm trying to be more mindful of. And also just taking my time. I write a lot of lists to try and like stay up to date and just like try and remember stuff. But it does feel like my brain is like 100 miles per hour. And I think at night especially, for me to wind down, I have to do a lot of things to kind of like ease myself out of the day and really kind of just like zone in, and just, I think trouble like sleeping and things like that. It's just a lot of noise, basically. It's a lot of noise all the time. But I think with dyslexia, it's just like with my writing, and I love to write.
Yeah.
I love to write and I love to read. But I wouldn't say it's impacted me like that badly. There has been times that I've written stuff, or like I've read back an email and I'm like, oh my God. Or like I've used like the wrong word for something else. Or like, do you know what I mean? I've written like, where were you? And I've written where as in like wearing the clothes. Yeah. But it definitely hasn't impacted me in any way. But I got diagnosed with dyslexia when I was in LIPA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For people that don't know, Gaia and I actually went to performing arts school, LIPA in Liverpool, and Gaia did acting. Mm-hmm. Gaia did acting, and I did like music, theatre management.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
She's a businesswoman.
I know, love it.
But that's really interesting. What was I going to say? Oh, with the sleep thing, something that I've recently started doing, and it has changed the way that I sleep. I listen to deep brown noise.
Okay. I don't know deep brown. I know white noise.
No, I'm going to send you the deep brown noise that I use.
Please do.
And I just put my phone on charge. I put this on just at a level that's not like, oh, this is peeing me off. It's just like in the background.
I'll try it. I'm so open. I really struggle like after a set as well.
Yeah.
So if I've done a set, I'm adrenalined up. I find it really hard to come back down and like my ears are just like ringing. But also if I've gone to like see a mate DJ or I've gone to a club night, when I go home, I'm just like wired from like adrenaline.
I know what you mean. I'm going to
that
send
could be
you
really
this.
helpful.
Yeah, it's like 12 hours.
Okay.
You just stick it on. And I'm not joking, like, I'm similar to you where I have to write lists. I've got about 4 different thought tracks going off in my head. I put that on and it subsides it dramatically. And I'm like, what? How have I not discovered this sooner? So I would definitely try that.
Okay, I will.
I
will. It's been so funny because people that don't know me or just like people in general will be like, oh my God, you have 8. Or like, if I had £1 for every time that somebody has said that to me, oof, I'd be a rich woman. But I'm just like, I just am who I am at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I just think I've gotten this far getting by. And I think I'll be all right.
I think you'll be all right.
I think I'll be fine.
I think that's what makes you so special as well. Because I remember when I first met you and I came back to my friend. I can't remember who it was at the time, but I remember just saying, she's going to be someone. Like, she is going to be someone. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, you just know, like, she's not meant for, like, normal. Like, you were just meant to be exactly where you are and who you are. So, oh, God, I feel like you're going to cry. Don't, she'll make me cry.
Do you know what? I'll be honest, I had a really shit morning this morning.
Oh, no.
I actually really did. And like, there was even a part of me that was just like, obviously I wasn't going to cancel on you. Sorry.
No.
Oh my God.
Wait, let me go get you a tissue.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Sure?
Yeah. Oh my God. There was a part of me that was just like, and again, this goes back to what we were saying just about real life bleeds in. Like everyone's, first of all, you don't know what anybody's going through.
No.
Real life bleeds in. It's fucking difficult sometimes. And yeah, it's normal. And we're emotional and we're human. And there was just a moment this morning when I was getting ready and I was just like, I just had a really crap morning, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that you said that and I really appreciate it. Aww. And I feel like maybe today I really needed to hear that.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, you're so sweet. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad we're getting emotional because I am an emotional girly.
Oh my God, I'm so emotional.
I'm such an empath.
Matty made a bet with our mates who was going to cry first on Saturday at our 5th birthday.
Who was it?
Me, obviously. She was like, I'm getting owed £20.
Yeah.
I'm getting £20.
Yeah.
I am emotional. But yeah, oh, bless you. I needed to hear that.
That's what makes you special though. And I think like whenever I speak about you, obviously I speak about you a lot because you're the person that like started this thing for me as well. So when I say it and people are like, oh, I met Gaia. Yeah, she's amazing. I'm like, I know she's amazing. Like the amount of people that I meet in the industry and I like mention you and they're like, oh yeah, she's such a vibe. Like she's got such great energy. And it's just so nice that we're here
that
talking
means so
about
much
it.
to me. Oh, honestly, like, I think that's, I don't know. I just think, you know, this job that we do and where we've got to with the girls and me, like this privilege is not lost on me. And I feel so grateful, like so incredibly grateful. But also I've worked so hard and I don't want to compromise who I am and, you know, how I am with people. Like I love people. I used to be a youth worker, like working with people, working with young people in particular. And I think that's probably why I'm so passionate about teaching. Human connection. And also I've met some fucking incredible sound people along the way. And there's so many amazing people in this industry. Don't get me wrong, there's some fucking pricks as well. And I'll stay like well clear of them. But there's also been so many amazing people that I've met and I'm like, oh my God, like it's reaffirmed, like, you know, that this place is like meant for me and I've had so much encouragement. And I think it's really important just to make sure that, yeah, you just stay in yourself. And look, love me, hate me, I don't care. But I think I don't want to compromise like who I am and my personality. And I'm glad that people think that of me. That's really sweet.
Yeah, they do. I think it's so nice that you still do teaching as well. Mm-hmm. When did you start teaching?
Mate, I think it was like that year that I met you.
Really?
Yeah.
In 2021?
2021.
And then you just continued?
Babe, I had nothing else to do. I was bored. Yeah. And big up Janice Myers. Janice Myers from Toxteth Community Radio. She just gave me like a room in Toxteth TV. And I was doing a project for her on L8 and I was just a couple people were coming in. I was editing it and interviewing people about Toxteth. And then I brought my Beccs in there, and I was just, it started off quite casually, just with a couple mates, kind of similar to you.
Yeah.
Couple mates coming in. I just started really enjoying it. I think I loved seeing people like really get it and just really like, because I know what that felt like. And then, yeah, I'd say like 2021. And then maybe more seriously in the last few years, I've done stuff in schools. I've done stuff. I went to Germany with the company to do some teaching out there that I loved. A few years ago with a women's like charity, like a DJ organization in London for brands, in Liverpool.
You do Box Park quite a lot.
Box Park,
yeah.
I did that every Wednesday, and that was really special because it was 7 till 9 p.m. every Wednesday. All different types of girls were coming. It was women only. All different types of girls were coming. You know, some girls that were really interested in having a DJ career, some that were, you know, working at the women's hospital and they just wanted like a bit of a release and they wanted something cathartic and therapeutic. Other women that had just moved to Liverpool and didn't know anyone but wanted to try something and meet new people. And it was a really, really special space. And some of the girls that have done the course have gone on. Mads, we just booked her. We literally booked her to play out on our tour. So she was a student of mine. There's other DJs that have like come from that cohort that are DJing in Liverpool now. And yeah, and that they're all still friends. It's great. And it just means that, you know, more venues and maybe more I can't speak. Venues and organizations, you know, need to essentially implement that kind of space and maybe that funding to be able to continue to sustain this teaching. But also it's so much more than that. Like, it's so transferable. I literally have seen like the confidence, not just in women, but the confidence in the people that I teach from the first session till the end, just like poof, like skyrocket. Particularly the work that I did in schools. I was working in a girls' school in Croxteth, and I was, you know, teaching these girls across like 3 years. I met them in year 7. And
Really?
and then I went back in year 9, and then they did a set at the Anglican Cathedral. I know.
Oh, amazing.
I know. They did a set there, proper Scouse House, like Scouse Rammers set, year
Love
9
it.
girls for the teachers, National Teachers Awards. And they were amazing. And yeah, the girls that I met in year 7 were not the girls by the end of that, you know, that like year 9 kind of journey. And I'd seen so many different shifts in them. And then it got to a point in the lessons where maybe some of the girls that were more confident started teaching the other. I mean, I could sit back. So it was just like all of these things that were, I guess, just like undeniable skills that you can just transfer to anything. But I think particularly for the confidence and development for young people, it's so important. It's so important. So we're actually part of something really special that I think honors this kind of like mantra of just really celebrating like the North and regional areas and DJs and promoters like from these regions that maybe don't necessarily get the same opportunities or access as maybe like down south or in London. We are ambassadors for Relentless's initiative called Local, and it's basically all about empowering like Northwest regional DJs and promoters, and you can apply to basically access up to £20,000 worth in terms of funds and grants.
Wow.
And they'll give you up to £20,000 to power your party, sound system, and it's basically about just really installing that level of access in terms of like promoters, up, you know, small scale promoters or DJs, to be able to just get their foot in the door. And I think it's really important. And we as a group came up from, you know, really working closely with underground and grassroots venues. We're seeing a lot of grassroots venues, especially some venues that we started playing in, have to close their doors because of things like funding or government cuts. And we want to be part of championing that like sustainability in terms of nightlife. And it's really important. And an initiative like this is really all about that, essentially. And it spotlights that next wave of talent that we're really like passionate about encouraging and representing as well. You can apply via the link in our bio. Application close on the 22nd of May. So make sure you get them in before then. And yeah, if you are a promoter, DJ across the regional areas, across the Northwest, then this is definitely for you.
Yeah. And is it where, I know you said the Northwest, but like where though? Like
basically anywhere that isn't London.
Oh,
essentially.
That's a slay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so good. Like you said, so many venues like closing and there's not as many opportunities for people to kind of get their foot in the door or even put on the events that they want to put on.
And one of my students that I taught at Box Park is actually playing at our like party, which is happening in Liverpool on the 14th of May. And yeah, we booked her to come and like play and warm up for us and like be alongside us. We also booked her to play alongside us at our London show in October. And that was also really special for me. There's been a few moments where there's been those crossovers, whether, we've booked like someone that Mattie's mentored or a student of Hannah's or a student of mine to kind of like come and be part of like a Girls Don't Sink experience and night. And that's always a really like special full circle moment.
Yeah, it's nice. Part of the collective.
Exactly.
Which I love, because that's exactly how it started. Okay, fab. We've touched on everything that I wanted to speak about.
Hell yeah. I've even cried, guys.
Yeah. I've just got 3 roundup questions.
Yeah.
And then we go into quick fire.
Okay.
So, first question. Mm-hmm. What is one hard truth about the dance music industry that maybe someone might not know?
Ooh.
It's the T.
That is a good question. One hard truth about the dance music industry that somebody might not know. I need this to be a good one. One hard truth about the dance music industry that somebody might not know. Okay. One hard truth. I think we touched on a little bit earlier. I think because of, I guess, the heights and the impact of social media, people see like the end product, and they see, I guess, like the highlights. I would say a hard truth is probably sacrifice, and it feels weird to even say that because this is what I've wanted and this is what I've asked for and this is what I've dreamed of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're not able to complain. I actually had this conversation pretty recently with a DJ that I really love and I admire, and I just think he's so cool, Nefertiti. And I started saying that. I started like complaining that I was tired, and I was like, I'm not allowed to complain. He was like, no, don't say that. Of course you are. Like, I am the product. Do you know what I mean? We pour so much into this, and I think particularly, balancing personal lives or personal commitments, whether it's my mum's birthday or a wedding, there are those moments. And I think over the years, I've had to let a lot of people down, with things like that. And it's meant that maybe I haven't been able to show up for other people in my life because this has consumed so much. It might not even necessarily be a booking on the same day. It might be the day after, but I'm just absolutely knackered and burnt out, which means that I don't feel like I can go and show up and be the guy that I want to be because I'm at 0%. And I think it is a lot of sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice that is worthwhile, but then it's like, at what cost? And if you're burning yourself out into the ground, I definitely feel like I've felt the wrath of burnout maybe like a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And it actually took just the people in my life, like my parents, my friends, my boyfriend, to be like, slow down. Yeah. Just like, you don't need to say yes to everything and you're doing too much. And I think it's a hard truth that, these things don't happen overnight. Girls Don't Sink is 5 years in the making, which again, even in the grand scheme, might not be a long time, but there was a lot of DIY ethos, mindset, pouring so much of our own time and money back in. We were literally playing for a packet of crisps when we first started. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was no money in it. And I think, again, because of this kind of like aesthetic and, the final product being kind of like put down our throats and what we see online, it's meant that maybe people have an unrealistic expectation about the journey that it might take to get to that level or to get to that place, or like, how do I play that set? How do I get to that venue? And what you're actually going to do is you're going to miss all of those really important moments along the way when it comes to honing your craft, finding out who you are. And also, we've seen success stories that happen overnight that allow people to kind of like accelerate and fast track. But you need to fucking work hard and you need to fucking love this. And if you don't have that passion in the first place, and if you only want to do it because you're going to look cool in a booth with people around you, or you want to get to this venue because, I don't know, your favorite DJ's played there, I think the craft and the passion needs to be the foundation, and that needs to be the thing that guides you. And if that's not the case, then you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. That's a good hard truth.
Okay,
Thank you.
Was it quite, I felt like it was quite generic, but
no,
it's a hard truth. If you're doing it for anything other than the passion of the music, and that's it. In fact, that's literally it.
Yeah, that's literally it. And I think, like you said, people do just see the end product. People do just see that overnight thing. What people don't realize is like, you guys were putting on...
the sleepless nights it's taken to get there, the hours, like also just like the lost art of just fucking digging for hours for music. Like, I'll put my hands up. I don't do it enough, like, compared to how much I did it at the start. I still dig, but like those 3 a.m. SoundCloud finds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where you're just like, you've gone on like a loop of like, you're in like the vortex of SoundCloud now. You've gone on someone's likes, then you're on someone else's. Then you're here, and then you're in related tracks. And then you found that track. You found that track that has like 50 likes
Yeah.
and like 10 listens, and you think that you've like hit the jackpot, and you have, because you've spent the time finding it, and it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
And then it's like also having that track that you just can't wait to play out. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a great feeling.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. What advice would you give to yourself 5 years ago with the position that you're in now? So like, it literally could be anything. It could be as like, you're going to be fine. Like, this is going to be a career area. Like, what would be your advice to yourself 5 years ago?
My advice to myself 5 years ago, you know what? I think that I did a lot of things right. I was really relentless. I was really openly inspired by other people. I was listening to a lot of radio shows. I was going to a lot of events.
You had your own radio show as well.
I did have my own
Do you
radio
remember
show.
we went to the podcast studios and we did that?
I've always done things like that, and I've always just kind of like put myself out there. And I think it's been great, and I've done a lot.
You have.
Just because I've just been like, yep. But I think it's also come at a cost of maybe potentially at times doing a bit too much.
Yeah.
And at the expense of that, what it might look like online, it might look great, but actually I was burnt out.
Yeah.
And I think maybe 5 years ago, I don't think I really knew what burnout was, because I was just, you do have to say yes. When you first start in, mate, you just say yes, you get yourself out there. And I think maybe if I had to speak to myself 2 years ago, I'd say, you don't need to say yes to everything. And you saying yes to everything because you care and you love it is great, but you're coming home and you're shattered. And I was always getting ill because I didn't have a strong enough immune system. I wasn't sleeping enough. I didn't have the strength. My body didn't have the strength to like fight anything off.
Yeah.
I was ill all the time. So that's what I would say to myself 2 years ago. But 5 years ago, I probably would say, you're doing the right thing.
Oh.
Because you're doing the right thing. And actually, this is kind of similar to what you were saying. Like, this is where you're meant to be. You're doing a lot of different things. You're doing a lot. I'm obviously like, at this point, I was working in a club. I was being a youth worker. I was DJing. I was starting to teach. But all of these skills, like those 5 skills, I'd also graduated drama school. All of these skills now, to me, make sense to me. And they've all become part of like the Gaia / G33 fabric. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The youth work, the drama school, the working in a club, working in nightlife, working on a bar. I feel like all of these like moments and experiences have been fundamental into the woman I am today.
Love that.
So yeah.
Fab. Final question.
Uh-huh.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to be in your position?
What advice would I give? I would say try and be relentless. Don't be annoying with it, and make sure that make sure you're not being stupid, like sending a blanketed email to like every single venue across the country. Make it bespoke. Do your research. If you're wanting to play at Hidden, for example, reach out to Hidden. Go to Hidden. Actually go to the venues. Like, immerse yourself in the culture that you want to be part of. Buy tickets to events. Support DJs. Buy music if you're in the position to be able to do that. I think when you're first starting, it's really hard because you don't have any money. But if you're beginning to DJ and you're wanting to kind of transition into clubs, the quality of the music really matters. It does, because I was ripping music off YouTube on 320 kp. Like, I was. And when I started playing in a club, I could hear it. But again, there are financial barriers when it comes to DJing and music. And I think if you're serious and you've got the capacity to financially, and you really want to play in clubs, I think investing a little bit into like the music quality is really, really important.
Yeah.
I would also say, if you're reaching out to a venue, make sure you're doing your research, make it bespoke. Okay, I want to play at Hidden. Hey, Hidden, I came to your event last weekend. You booked G33. I'm a big fan of hers. I also saw that you booked XYZ. I also came to that show. I would love to know if you have any warm-up slots. Here's a link to my SoundCloud. I would just say, stay interested in the culture that you want to be a part of. Buy tickets. Go to the venues. Support other DJs. And I would also say, what was the question again?
What advice would you give to someone wanting to be in your position?
I would also say it's easier said than done, but just, back yourself. Back yourself. And don't be scared of collaboration. Don't be scared of reaching out to people. I think naturally, maybe, some people want those moments for themselves and they want to collect their flowers, and sometimes could feel quite individualistically driven, but relying and supporting other people and maybe creating a cohort of like-minded individuals that maybe have the same goals or same dreams or ambitions as you. That's what's got me to the position that I'm in. So yeah, don't be scared of like partnering up. Don't be scared of partnering up with people and creating your own community and doing things yourself. DIY ethos, I think, is really important, and collaboration. That's what I would say. If you want to get to where I am at, those have probably been those. Okay, let me rephrase that because I feel like I paraphrase. I think if you want to get to the position that I'm in now, I think there's 3 really important, like, fundamental things. Power of collaboration. Don't be scared of working with people, supporting people, creating a cohort of like-minded individuals. That is literally the whole essence of Girls Don't Sink. I would also say be confident in the culture that you want to be part of. Go to the events, support nightlife, go and see DJs, you know, reach out to DJs, reach out to venues. Make those kind of interactions bespoke. Don't just send a blanketed email to like everybody. If you want to play at Hidden, explain to Hidden why you want to play there. Maybe you say you've seen a DJ that's played there recently that you really like it. Or if you want to go on somebody's radio show, actually listen to the radio show that you want to go on. And then the third thing I would say would be collaboration.
DIY?
Oh yeah. The third thing I would say would be just, it's easier said than done. And obviously this is also why collaboration is so important, but try and attempt to implement a bit of a DIY mindset and ethos. Like Girls Don't Sink started up just from essentially 3 mates wanting to put on female DJs in Liverpool. Create your own things, create your own opportunities, like exactly what you're doing now. This is an example of that kind of like DIY ethos. And I think it's really important. And it means that you've got something of your own to build. And if you don't see a space for yourself, then create it and make sure that you push hard enough and kind of like kick down the doors to make sure that maybe bigger entities or organizations or venues see that what you're doing is credible. And if they see that you've got something, you know, that you've done yourself and that you've kind of started up from the ground, I think that's really, really admirable. And I think a lot of people in the industry will always relate to that, because that's where so many ideas and club nights and artists have kind of like come from. So I think, yeah, those 3 things are really important.
Amazing. Okay, fab.
Bless you on the editing of that, because I was like, I'm going off piece, I need to keep it concise.
That's okay. Okay, we're into quick fire.
Okay, quick fire. Okay, now I'll actually be quick, I promise.
Okay, fab.
I won't even think of it. I won't even think about it. I'll just go straight in.
Okay, right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite track you're rinsing right now?
Oh, I play it every set. Riordan with Stanton Warriors, Bring Me Down. That bass line when it drops is just like, oh my God, it's unifying. If the dance floor starts getting a bit like sparse or like people's attention start going, that's the track I'm going to use every time. The girls will back me up on this. That's a track I'm going to use every time to just lock everyone back in.
Love that. One DJ you'd love to go back to back with?
Oh my God, one DJ I'd love to go back to back with. I'd love to go back to back with Scream.
Oh,
do you know why? Because he's come from so many, I mean, he's come from a world that I love, which is dubstep, and I don't really get the opportunity to play it out like very often. Him and Benga, like when they were coming up, like, you know, they were kind of like the pioneers of that movement, of that scene. But he can just do any set.
Yeah.
He you know, disco, house, garage, like I feel like he's got so many different worlds in his arsenal that I just feel like I'd be put through my paces. But I'd love to do like a dubstep set with him, because I rarely get to play out dubstep and I love it.
Yeah, call out for Scream to do that.
I know, one day.
Best crowd you've ever played for?
G33 or GDS?
Any.
Okay, best crowd I've ever played for. Oof. Oh God, I'm going to have to keep it cliche and have to say Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say Glastonbury.
You've played a few times,
I've played a few times. I would have to say the best crowd we did at Glastonbury. Oof. I don't know. All of them. Can I say that? Is that a cheat? Okay, all of them. This is supposed to be quick fire, Gaia. Stop explaining. Glastonbury.
Favourite closing track?
Favourite closing track? Oh, I have an edit of It Feels So Good by Sonique. And it's a bit of a slower tempo and everyone knows it. It's a cross-generational like classic. But this edit is like the perfect like crossover track because it brings the tempo down. And I just feel like it's a lovely nostalgic sing-along to kind of close the vibes out.
Love that. One word to describe your sound.
One word to describe my sound. High vibes. That's 2 words. High vibes.
Dream festival to play. You've obviously played loads, but
Dream festival to play. Oof, that's a good question. I would love to play Girls Don't Sing. I would love us to play Body Movements, which is a festival in London, and it looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
Queer led, queer focused. It looks absolutely amazing. I'd love us to play that.
Yeah. After party or straight to bed?
Oh god, girl, straight to bed these days.
Yeah.
Straight to bed. Straight to bed to just look at the wall and come down for my adrenaline burst.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this, but favourite snack on tour?
Favourite snack on tour? Are you going to say fruit?
No, I was going to say crisps.
It is crisps, absolutely.
Which one?
Oh, do you know what? It depends. I do like to try the local delicacies. I like to try the crisp of the region.
Yeah, that's good. If you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
I'd be acting.
Yeah.
I'd be acting.
Do you still get gigs with?
Do you know what?
Like
I don't. I haven't. I've put acting on the back foot for like the last few years. I did a play a few years ago when we were touring, and it was difficult to balance the two. I obviously did the BBC drama I think it was like quite early on with Girls Don't Sit. We weren't touring like this.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, but it would be my biggest life regret if I didn't go back to it at one point. I think I will. I definitely will. Once the GDS wheels are just like in motion, I will 1000% go back to it.
Yeah.
But it's two really big commitments. So
It is.
yeah, I definitely will because I love it. But I think I love theatre more. I like TV, but theatre, I think there's so many similarities with DJing because it's live and it's visceral. So yeah, I definitely would go back to it.
Okay, final question.
Yeah.
Your dream collaboration.
My dream collaboration. Oof, I would love to do something with just like, I guess like the founding like figures of like garage. So like a Miss Dynamite, for example, or Mystique. Like I'm talking about the women.
Yeah.
So like Mystique, Miss Dynamite, Kelly LaRock. Like just like those really British quintessential like female garage icons.
Yeah.
Alicia Dixon on the mic.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
You remind me a little bit of
Shut
her,
the fuck
actually.
up. Don't gas me up.
I think it's the way that you speak.
Don't gas me
Are you
up.
from a similar place?
She's from London. I'm from South London. I feel like she might be from South London, you know?
Yeah, because you do sound similar.
Find out where Alicia's from. I reckon
will.
she's from South.
Because the way that you speak, I could imagine you being a bit of an MC.
Oh, brilliant.
No, honestly, I could. Maybe you need to do your own little MC on the on one of your tracks.
Maybe.
She's a singer-rapper. Wait, where's she from?
I reckon she's from South London. She's got South London energy in the best way. South Londoners, we have a bit of a superiority complex. Like, we really fundamentally believe that we're the best area in London because we are.
I don't know how you say this.
I've got no idea where that is. Sounds like it's Welsh.
Where did she grow up?
The thing is, some of Mystique are from South London, though. Because my friend, Savannah, her sister, Sue Elise, was in Mystique, and they're from South London.
I think it says, is it Hertfordshire or Hertfordshire?
Hertfordshire, but I feel like she was in London a lot. I'm going to claim her as South London.
Yeah, you sound very similar.
Oh, thanks. Compliment.
Well, I'm going to wrap us up.
Oh my God,
That's
amazing.
been us. I can't believe it. We're like...
Bloody, that felt like a therapy session.
Did
Beccs.
it?
Yeah, I love that.
Good.
I really did. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay, right. Thank you so much for sitting with us whilst we chat away. This has been What's Cooking with Beccs, Vernon and Gaia, G33, a quarter of Girls Don't Sing. Woo!
And safe to say, we've cooked.
Yeah. We have cooked.